Thanks so much, guys. Welcome to the close. 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. And man, oh man, what a positive afternoon we have on our hands. 2 hours left in the trading session. And yeah, we're up huge right across the board. Let's have a look at how things stand at this point. 2.14% for the S&P, 1.49 for the Dow there, 3.1% for the NASDAQ. Biggest day for the NASDAQ since all the way back in March of this year. TSX 1.49 here in Toronto. Nice day for crude oil, 4% back in positive territory. Bitcoin bouncing back. Ethereum as well. A little bit negative on the day, really not doing a heck of a lot, just kind of chopping around. Where it's been most of the session. I'll give you a different look here. This is the S&P 500. Top gainers right now. Huge move for Fortinet, FTNT, 8% on the session. ServiceNow, 8%. There's NVIDIA, 7%. QRVO, Applied Materials, Etsy, up 6.7% on the day. Even some energy names having quite the day here. FANG there, 6.6%. NXP Semiconductor, 6.4% to the upside. There's Devon as well, Chipotle, AutoZone, to name a few. Microchip even, 5.9%. It's across all sectors. It's a very big day. Everything back in positive territory after what has been very, very volatile few sessions. If you remember, if you rewind the clock back to last Thursday, big up day. We were down a little bit then Friday. Yesterday, the bounce back continued, and here we are almost back. It's amazing to say, almost back to all-time highs for the S&P 500. We will get into a whole bunch of things here this afternoon to discuss some opportunities, including this Trupanion, again, almost as I speak here, back to all-time highs on that deal with Chewy. Huge move for both Chewy and Trupanion, up 36.5%. on the day. Chewy up about 3.5%. Still a pretty good day for Chewy as well. It's been a good day for EV stocks. It's been a good day for chip makers, depending on where you were looking this morning. As we do typically this time, we'll get into a couple of opportunities we discussed if you joined us in the pre-market morning and see how we did, see where we can always do better. We're going to kick that off with Sean. He's going to have a look at one of his trades right now.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's your trade of the day, and today it's going to be on Lucid. Look, we come in here, we understand that it's been fire. Both Lucid and Rivian, big time moves the last couple of days. The market's been nuts. So have these EV names. And if you just look here, even this is a 20-minute chart, you can see just a couple of days ago, man, like December 1st and 2nd, we were up to $56 on Lucid. And then just yesterday in the morning there, we touched down to 38, 39, 40 bucks on Lucid. Wow, what a monster. And then today we come in and it's just around the same kind of levels here. And what we're looking for is an opportunity to get long. You know, the market was up 1.5%, 2% today, looking even higher as we come into the close here. So we're looking for an area of Lucid that we wanted to defend. We open up all the way up here, $47, $48 here today. We'll check that out on the minute chart. But we find this little area here, $44.50 or so. That was a level that if it were ever dipped down, we kind of wanted to defend that area. So let's move over to the charts now and today and see exactly how we traded Lucid. So here it is. We come in today. Nice big move to the top side. Thought it was a little bit overdone. Again, could have been wrong. We actually preach patience here today on Lucid. And look what happens. We actually don't take out the top break, which we've been doing lately, 47 and change. Instead, we let this thing fall down right into our area. This is the line extended from the other chart. So this line is 44.50 roughly. And as you can see, it comes back down. We take our first bid at $45. We weren't expecting necessarily for this to come in. You see where we started the show at, 47 where we opened, comes all the way back down, almost instantly crashing down about 940, 945. We're lucky enough to get a 45 bid. That's great. So we start taking it out. 45.25, then 45.50 right in front of VWAP. Then it just starts to collapse. And we're not out of everything. So we're like, what are we going to do? But we remembered that we have areas of concern down here. 44.50, 44 even. And that's exactly what we do. Comes back down. Look at that bid right there, 44.50. We grab that bid. It starts to rip up. 44.80, 45. Get out at VWAP again. 45.20, that's 60, 70, 80 cents. we're in scalp mode right now. So this is not, we're not planning on a big move to the upside. What we always try to do, and I'll explain this right here, where we wind up getting out, we try to hold that 20%. So we used to be about 10%. If we think that there is a chance for the move back up, we're gonna hold a little bit more. Scalping just continues, it continues again, drops all the way back down to 44.50 again. Bang, we grab that again, boom, all the way to the upside, 44.80, 45 again, drop it down. This is where we're starting to get nervous. We start to see, and we talked about this on the show, we start to see some sort of pressure adding to the EV space, adding to the NASDAQ kind of midday, and we're like, uh-oh, we better get out. So we take one more piece out there for a dime. That's good. Then it starts to tank, and this is where we say, you know what? We're not gonna let it break the day's low here. So we wind up getting out of everything. We lose our last 20%. That's this thing. So in there, look at these prices, 44.50, out 44.25. We take a 25-cent hit. We made that back easily. Then a short comes through. When we break through 44, we take the short, scalp it all the way out here, 80s, 75s, things like that. We take the 20 cents or so. Then it comes down. We hold that last for the miracle. Comes back up, takes out 43.50 back to the upside. Now Lucid kind of hovering around right here. So we go from a long right here, defending levels, to a switch right there down into the short. And now we're flat on Lucid. Pretty good day here. We're happy with this. A lot of movement both up and down here on Lucid. It's your trade of the day.
Two-way action across the board for Lucid, two-way action across the board for a lot, in fact, of the EV group, including Tesla. We'll talk about Tesla coming up. Rivian also was on the watch list this morning, guys. If you are looking for an absolutely free resource on a daily basis, that is the link for our free watch list. We send it out before we come on every morning at 8:30. This week brought to you by X Sigma. That is the free watch list. Use a QR code too. It's super easy. Let's jump into a few things we need to know this afternoon. Again, welcome guys. If you're joining us for the first time, we go all day long now. You get the morning show, you get Trader Prad and Miss V in the midday, and then we come back at 2 o'clock right through to 4. This Dare Biosciences, I want to just discuss this for a second because I'll show you a couple of things here we need to know. So it was halted, news pending, at 12:23 for this dare. What is that? 9 minutes later, 12:32, we get the news. FDA approves this treatment that they've been working on. It is now 2:08, and I just checked the NASDAQ halts page again, and there still isn't even a resumption time for this. So within 9 minutes of the news halt, we get the news, and Dare's still sitting here, guys, halted, up 10.5%. So a little bit of a strange one. I mean, we've seen some extended halts before, but this is getting a little out of control.
Yeah, I haven't even really been looking at this. So sometimes this happens, and all you really got to do is sit on your hands. I mean, there's really not much happening. We got to wait to settle down. The NASDAQ's going to get all these market on open orders. I mean, we can look at the imbalance locator right now, sort it by time, and see what we're dealing with. I mean, Dare's not even on here. So I don't think this opens up anytime soon. I don't see it on here, and there's really nothing to trade with, which is why I haven't been looking. It's only up that 10%. But again, if you're caught in this, then you sort of just wait for it to open up, and then we go from there. But right now, then there it is, man, 11.16, 11.17 or so. And if you pull this out, there's the trading. So we're on 2 hours, 3 hours now with no trade. So let's just see about where it could open. We're tapping 195. I don't think that that's going to be the case there. So that's what our theoretical auction price is saying. And then if we look at a day chart here for Dare, I don't know, it's sort of still in the same levels here. So we'll see what that approval does. 223, $3. Obviously, there was some action here as well on probably a very similar last year at this time, back in January, we were cruising around 145. We topped out at 380 right there. So very, very similar action. You spend most of 2021 doing absolutely nothing, a few little spikes here and there. And then now today, we get some more, excuse me, fireworks on Dare. So let's see where it goes. I'm not super interested. It doesn't seem like we're going to be opening up anytime soon here, Arun. So unless you have more of an opinion on this one, I don't know. It's a hard pass.
You really can't do a whole lot until the stock opens up. If you had it pre-close, then you might be like, oh, great. This is great news. The longer they take, the better it's going to be for me. But as a trader who's not participating until it opens up. Of course, once it opens up, you're going to see a lot of activity because this is huge. This kind of news is huge for a stock like this. So once it opens up, there will be a ton of opportunities to trade, especially on the momentum side. Not necessarily on the position side, but on the momentum side, this should be quite exciting. But for now, though, I'm sure Brendan will let us know once it opens. I'm sure the chat will let us know once it opens. But until it does open, there's not a whole lot you can do. Just put it aside. When it actually happens, we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on this. We'll have it up on a level 2 here and see what is going on with NASDAQ, see if they can't. Maybe they're affected by this. No, they're not. I was going to say maybe they're affected by this Amazon Web Services outage right now, as many web sites are. Big AWS outage, if you haven't heard. That's why many of your favorite services online might be down at the moment. Big mover today in vaccine land, guys. Novavax, 24% right now, after the European Medicines Agency comes out and says their vaccine could be approved within a couple of weeks here for emergency use over in Europe. So, sorry, I stand corrected. 25% now for NVAX, heading back towards day highs.
NVAX, oh man. In terms of the vaccine plays, NVAX is one of the stocks I choose to trade over Moderna. I know people were asking me about Moderna earlier in the day. NVAX is my choice, stock of choice, and it wasn't, even though it was my stock of choice, it wasn't on my radar today. I had other things going on. 152 long, that would have been the trade right there. It broke above yesterday's kind of congestion from the afternoon, which was around 146. You see the drift back down there into that 146, 145 area, nice little support move. A bounce off of that through that 152 opens up the long. Of course, if you had seen it, that's money, right? At that point, you get that long and there's no reason to get out. Like, you can set targets, of course, around this 160, 161 area, but it blew right through them into the next resistance area. 170 blew right through. Well, actually, no, it didn't blow right through it because it did back off. You see this 170 to 164 back down, but then it went right back through there. So if you had that, that would have been money. If you don't, I mean, again, you're just watching this thing take off and you can't participate. It's like that futures move this morning. Of course, I want to participate. I didn't see it right off the get-go. And then once I saw it, I was like, oh, where do I get in? I can't get in. And it just keeps going and going and going. And this is what you had. You essentially have nearly a 16 to 17 point move before it actually took a breather, and then decided that I wanted to go from 164 to 176 before it kind of slowed down again. So it's two legs here. You could have argued for the second leg when they took 170 a second time, but at the same time, by then, the majority of the trade was already gone. That 152 break, though, was definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, what do you do going forward, knowing that a market's going to react like this? Keep an eye on NVAX. Keep an eye on other vaccine plays. Keep an eye on a lot of these movers that are going absolutely nuts today, because because of the speed of movement, they're going to have to open up some levels to work with. It's not like just going sideways in a tight range, which is kind of hard to trade when the levels aren't really there and established, because, well, they're probably all like mixed together and it's just hard and messy to work with. When a stock just goes absolutely nuts to the upside, the levels become easier to read, and that's what you got to do. You got to figure where the levels are now, and now NVAX being up 25, almost 26% on the day, definitely something to keep an eye on as we go forward. This week is, last week was quite volatile, and this week, it looks like the market wants to be volatile in a good way, which is straight to the upside. Although yesterday was, for the most part, somewhat muted, relatively speaking, somewhat muted, because even though it was to the upside, it was like a little sideways and then up and a little bit of a break. This one's just straight rally, nonstop to the upside. Futures have not taken one retracement. We've gone sideways, yes, but we have not taken one retracement, and the stocks are responding correspondingly.
Yeah, I've looked at Moderna a little bit and Pfizer. I mean, I like both those names, but big moves happening today in NVAX, so that's always worth a good look there as, trying to figure out what's going on with Apple here as well. But SoFi right now just took that out, so we'll finally spin this because money. That's actually pretty annoying. 1670 right there. SoFi finally takes out that 1660 that we've been waiting for all day long, and now this is shooting up near the top of the list again for us. You buy there. Now finally we get to take some out, but we've been taking it out on the way up. We did get a great little bottom there at 1680 for SoFi, so a nice little move up to the upside here on that name. And we just took another piece out near 1680. I still think SoFi has a chance to go here, but that's a name that we want to look at. And then you just talked about NVAX. I still like Pfizer. Pfizer has the dividend here. You're down near 51 bucks. I don't think this story's going anywhere. I mean, we've talked about that. A nice little high side. I think we retest this at least a couple more times, 55, 56 bucks. I'd rather buy it around 47, 48, see if we can get a pullback somewhere to the 50-period moving average. But it looks like COVID, unfortunately for all of us, is going to have to be something that we just live with and deal with moving forward. And it may be booster shots forever. Who knows? I have no idea. But Pfizer looks like a strong name for me. And then you're not dealing with, like, did they get approval? Did they not get approval? We already know Pfizer has that sort of in their back pocket. It seems like for anything. So we'll see that. And then also pipeline as well. More coming on Pfizer. Look, it's a strong name. We've known about this company for decades. So I trust Pfizer in this space. I like them and Moderna more than NVAX.
Yeah, interesting time to see some moves like that in that vaccine space. I was just watching a couple of things here. That Seattle Mobile back towards that 5 level that it essentially broke out from this morning, but a huge move for SYTA, teeny tiny little float on that one, guys, on a new distribution deal, but coming back in a little bit. At this point, we had a look at Lucid there to kick things off. Rivian also almost got back to positive there as we were talking around 117. Rivian coming out saying that the 16th of the month they're going to report their latest earnings. So mark that one down because no doubt the following day will be interesting for RIVN, guys.
I mean, they've sort of made their bottoms here when you look at the chart. I mean, I know you're talking about it yesterday, Arun, when I wasn't in here, and we saw Lucid, which you've already talked about, so we'll just talk about Rivian, make some of these nice lows here yesterday, back to 100 bucks. I mean, bottom. If you weren't, I was surprised you guys didn't go long there, but it made sense. Why not? It was crazy chaos in the morning. So I don't know if we're going to retest back down here. But again, like, this looks about as solid as you can get. You're not going to find a better chart, honestly, even though we've only been alive here for 3 weeks or so on Rivian. I think you could forget about this 180, 170, something like that, unless these numbers absolutely blow it out of the water. I think they have a backstop with Amazon, and I think that that's going to be proved to be a strong relationship as well. Ford, I know Ford sort of shelved. Yeah, what's up, Randy? Sort of shelved their plans with Rivian, but they still own a percentage there. And I think that, something may get done at that aspect with Ford as well at some point. So I like Rivian. I expect it to be a big earnings call for them. And you hit the nail right on the head, Brendan. We'll be back here trading this name very, very aggressively upon earnings. But it looks like for now, between 125 and, like a 107, basically where they IPO'd here, 106, 107. I think it's stuck in that kind of a range. And you could have got almost that exact range today, 122 down to 112. So we already had that $10 push in. I don't really see anything for Rivian the rest of the day here. But again, I like to pick up, if I see this thing get smashed anymore, I think I'm going to pick it up every single time.
Rivian, eh? I think we talked about Rivian earlier. It was the one trade that was available on Rivian was that long around that 100 mark. And given where it's trading at, it's kind of congested, right? North of 120, you're dealing with a lot of action to the upside. Down in this 112 area, you've got some support, maybe down to 110, 109. It gets a little messy, but preferably though, obviously you want to work either above 120 or around that 105, because then you can work with 100 as a support base here. So longs below 105 down to 100 is one idea. The other one would be the shorts above 120 going up to about 124-ish would be another idea. Everything in the middle just gets really messy. Rivian has to make a move, an aggressive move at some point. Obviously, yesterday's move was aggressive. But now, keep in mind, 106.75 was, I believe, the IPO price. And we get close. Every time we get close, we get volume. And around IPO prices, you get that kind of action. And every time we get too far, we come back. It seems like Rivian is kind of finding its natural range here. If it's going to be around that IPO price, if it's going to be around that 100 to 120 area, then you might want to let it consolidate, let it figure itself out, and then when it breaks out, whether it's to the upside or not, whenever that happens, just go with it.
All right, just saw Biosciences pop up here, guys. Heads up, back to day highs, it looks like. Yeah, not seeing any headlines, noteworthy headlines, but huge volume spike here for SAVA, another one of those names that if it wants to get going, controversial kind of headline-driven name for Biosciences, but just taking out day highs here, back to 49. That's impressive for SAVA.
Yeah, Biosciences. Before I go on to that one, let's just quickly talk just real quick here about Apple, because I'm about to get into a position. I believe we just tested some of these levels there at 170. They did not hold. A very, very small test, but now it's trying to think about putting on a real position here. As we're getting ready, and Arun, you tell me what you think about the futures right now. Maybe we could do that quickly before we go over Sava. I mean, I'm looking at this Apple right here, and honestly, thinking about this cracking lower, you're up 3%. The NASDAQ, to me anyways, trying to start to make a little, a few lower highs and whatnot here as you're starting to stair step back in. I think that the 16,300 is going to get tested. So with a lot of talk and not much action, let's see what Apple's going to do here. I think taking out, oh man, that's not the right chart. Taking out this 169.80, we've bounced a couple times. I like the short there, and then hold it back to like 170.20, something like this in here on Apple. Obviously, I like to play it if we can get up here into short, but I think the push down might be what we need here for Apple. Let me just look at a 20-minute chart here quickly for this name. As it's starting to, it's not going to give us that much. This is 170.05. We're already through there. Next level 167. So that would bring us down a couple bucks. So 167, 168.80. This is Apple. Anything on the futures, Arun? Like, I don't want to make this trade if you're looking long.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I am thinking is that the market is ripe for a pullback of some sort. If anybody would notice, I was long NVIDIA from this morning. I was long at 312.17, got some out at around 314 and change. I finally dumped the rest of the position just underneath 322, and it's all coming together actually. That was like a $9.57 winner on NVIDIA on the remaining position. But the reason I'm starting to do this is because I'm noticing that there's some sell pressure coming in, and it tends to happen around, I want to say in the next 90 minutes or so. My concern is that given how strong we've gone up and the fact that we haven't got any sort of a pullback done, as we get closer and closer to the end of the day, there's going to be some profit taking being done. And whenever that comes in, it doesn't have to happen now. It can happen at like 320, 330, whatever. But as soon as I get the first sign of selling after the home stretch, or not even the home stretch, final 2 hours or so, I'm just going to start dumping my positions because I don't need to hold on. I've held on all day. Now, what's my upside to continue holding on? So shorts are looking a little bit better. Theoretically and probability-wise, it would be better to be dumping some longs. Now, if there's a shorts are setting up, that's probably even better for you as well. Just because late in the session, I'm noticing futures starting to kind of refuse to get above 46.90. Of course, that's ripe for a pullback. More stocks that have run strong, ripe for a pullback. Look at that, I got out at 74, 321.74, we're already down below 321. And that's the thing, when stocks are strong and they start pulling back, especially names like NVIDIA here, they're gonna get aggressive because there's next to like, not liquidity, but it's very thin. So if volume starts coming in one direction, you're gonna get a run. And that's my concern. So I am dumping my positions that have been doing well. In terms of Apple, again, if the market's going to turn, Apple's going to be one of those names that's going to turn with it. Why? Apple's got one of the largest weights in these indexes. And these indexes are almost up. NASDAQ's almost up 3%. So at some point, someone's got to take a break, right? If that happens now, it could be a nice little move to the downside, which could allow you to pick up some longs. But like I said, though, it doesn't necessarily need to happen now. It could happen at any point between now and probably the imbalances coming out. Most of the time. There has been times where it doesn't even bother, it doesn't even come off a little bit, it just continues going. But I don't need to take that risk, right? So just take profit if you have it. In my case, I'm keeping the two losers that I have on that I'm gonna just let play out. And apart from that, going back to your Apple trade, if you are considering shorts or if you are taking shorts, that might be a good idea there, Sean.
Wow, gee, thank you, Arun. And there it is right now. We are already in the short. So Long-winded answer, but I was listening to every piece of it. So I agree, man. And I just think if it's going to come off here at the end of the day, I'll take a position now, see if I give it not too much room, but up here like 170.25, something like that in and around here. But we did take a quick 12 cents there, just instantly popped out into the money for me. So we did take that out. So let's see where we go now. Short 78s here on Apple, now starting to break lower. As far as a target is concerned on this trade, maybe where we opened would be kind of nice, where we were struggling before taking off. They're struggling. 169.40 or so is the pre-market high. If we can get that down to there, I'd be a pretty happy guy. So 169.40 would be nice. And then lower here, even a touch of 169, I'd be happy with. I mean, this is the thing. You come at the best. You come at the king. You better not miss right now. So I'm not going to hold this one all the way. I don't need to be proven wrong $1, $2 away from here. I love Apple. It's an own, don't trade type of stock. But just for today, let's see if it gives a little bit back. I think people may get nervous here. The NASDAQ's up 3%, so that would be almost the opposite of being nervous. But if you're going to sell something today, maybe it's Apple. It's overproduced. It's outperformed the market here. And I'm going to go short on Apple knowingly that this is a very dangerous position. So let's wait to see, but I'm giving up to 170.25. So although danger is not my middle name, on this one, we'll give it about 50 cents or so.
All right, another one making moves here, guys. Vuzix, V-U-Z-I, just popping up on monster volume. You can see at the bottom of your screen. Day highs all the way through to 1050 there. Up about 10% now. There was a analyst, Lou Bassanese. I've never even heard of him, but apparently out with a positive note on this Vuzix. There's also this TRUP, I just noted, kind of looking a little bit like that Apple chart, coming back into 150 support. Yeah, 36.5% after this was announced pre-market this morning, partnership with Chewy. So TRUP pulling back as well.
Yeah, I mean, I brought you that story live on the air this morning, and I just traded the wrong one. I went right over to Chewy and liked the 63 level on that. I don't know where it is now. I canceled that order back down to 61. So we were thinking that, hey, this is great news for Chewy, right? Getting into the new business. We'll look to see if they take out this 63 area here. They don't. And then instead, man, go over to, the bigger one here with Trupanion. And I mean, again, when you're an insurance company and then you're teaming up with somebody that has, I don't know how many subscribers, thousands and thousands of subscribers like Chewy does, you are going to get this bump up. And it's just really embarrassing now. I looked at the other one and not Trupanion instead, as this one opened up and then just absolutely took off. Like, this should have been $20 winner or something like that for me, but it's not on board. So it is what it is, and we'll just move on from this. But the insurance is a great spot. I think this is way overdone. Would have not thought 37%, but again, good space for them to now get more book. It's just like an order book, right? It's like we talked about Rivian come to market with $1.3 billion on orders, and same thing with Lucid, big order book. And now Trupanion has that customer that they never had before with Chewy, right? And so if they can start, like your dog gets a bone, gets a toy. This is what Chewy is. Chewy, I don't know if you know what Chewy is at all, but Arun, it's just an online pet store where you can order absolutely everything, and then they have like subscription boxes. So that's like BarkBox as well, but they have subscriptions and things like that. So when you order it, and it's not the same as true subscriptions, but recurring orders and things like that. So now they can slip in a little bit of insurance detail here, and Trupanion, the big winner on this one. I love this deal for them. Trupanion to the moon, guys, 37%.
Trupanion was absolutely nuts. And I mean, it's one of those trades where you either had it at the right time or you saw it at the right time. 140 would have been the trade. Let's say you missed 118 and that rally from 118 through 130. 140, when it took a little break, came back down to 135 and change, and then took off through 140. That was your option to get in, or your opportunity to get in. And if you didn't have that, that was it. Because since then, it hasn't really given you much of a trade. So Trupanion, again, setting up some levels you can work with for another day. If you caught that initial run, great. If you didn't, just mark it off. It's hot now. It's in the news. It's going to have It's going to have more activity with it. The more it trades, especially with this news out. Now take a look at Chewy. Take a look at Trupanion. Keep these names listed in your, maybe keep an alert box or keep a hot list or something that you can just kind of check over each day, see if there's a setup for it. But definitely Trupanion needs to be added to that alert list there, just maybe for a week, even if while the volume's hot in Trupanion. It's done 1.3 8 million shares, almost 1.9 million shares. As long as the volume's hot, keep an eye on this. Once it dries out, just walk away and find something else to trade.
Chewy, another one, yeah, impressive to the upside today, even with TRUP, the bigger move. I was just watching Costco a little bit, guys, back to basically the middle of its range. Oppenheimer increasing price target today for cost. Every time I look at this daily chart, it's just amazing. This is only June, July, 380. We're at 550 for Costco, higher on another upgrade.
I mean, there's no better retail. We've talked about this. I was actually there not too long ago. I actually filled up for gas yesterday. I know you know all about gas. So right now gas is what, 132.9?
Yeah, 133.9 a liter.
A liter, yeah, a liter. So there's about 3-point-something liters in a gallon. So you're at about $4 a gallon for gas here, if not a little bit more than that. So pretty pricey. I don't know what it is in your state or where you guys located, but Costco gas, $124.9.
It's cheaper.
I'll take it. So filled up the old Atlas there and got going. But here goes Costco, man, all the way to the downside. And I don't know. I think that was a great buying opportunity. Look, when they can charge subscription fees, we're just talking about that. Membership fees of $120 a year and continue to get people to pay it. I like that revenue model for them. And their online has started to pick up a little bit. I like Costco. Missed opportunity. Anytime you get this thing to dip down, man, it's a great buy. I mean, just look at the chart. That's all you need to understand here. This was like $300 a year ago, up to $560 right now, and that's during pandemic. Ms. V, we can't ignore her for too long. What up?
Hey Sean, we have a wonderful feedback on the chat from Gabriel. I just received my hoodie. I'd rather be trading. Size is perfect. It's super comfy, nice quality. I really like it. Best show on YouTube and every platform. Gabriel, thank you very much for your feedback. And for anyone who also want to purchase our merchandise, I'll quickly show you how you can do this. Just simply go to our homepage, click on, nice picture, right? Click on the store, and here you can see all our great goods. Here's I'd rather be trading hoodie. I have one. And by the way, I can see that Arun is rocking our large Trader TV logo hoodie. So yes, guys, shout out to Gabriel and post our merch on social media and we'll gladly repost it. Back to you guys.
There we go. He's got it on right now. That's not the I'd rather be trading, is it?
No.
No. The I'd rather be trading has the small logo and then the talk on the back. So thank you for supporting. And there's no better time to get my favorite piece, which is this hoodie, as you get ready to rock and roll into winter. You know, cozy up. Of course,
it's cold outside.
My kids
have.
I
went for a walk.
I was actually wearing. The kids one's pretty good. So my kid's like an average size. You get the small, and you can get that for your kid as well. I forget what I was even going to say other than the fact, the fact that we were wearing our jackets. Well, I was wearing my jacket here this afternoon because if you can't feel your hands, very, very tough to trade. So maybe we need some Trader TV Live gloves, you know, those ones where you can easily punch the keys here. I don't know. But anyways, check it out. Thank you, Ms. V. And thank you for putting that on social media. Tag me and I'll retweet that as well. So that's a good one there. All right, so we just talked a little bit about Costco. Really, the only other position I have on, you see me with my SoFi trade. This HUD 8 trade, I've loved this trade here today. It took out this $10 area. That's what we were looking at on the 1 minute. And I'll show you exactly why we like that area. Unfortunately, it dipped all the way down. Both my takeouts this morning of AMD at the high, not good. HUD at the high at that time, not good as well, as it faded all the way back in. But we reloaded and we're able to... Okay, I'm reloaded. And we're able to take out, that needs to be longer with some cool ass graphics behind that one, I think. Yeah, now we're back near the high of the day. Our last day was right here. We've let this thing sort of cruise all afternoon. You know, if it comes back up to 10:30, I think it's worth getting out. Why did we like HUD? There's a whole bunch of other ones. CAN, people were telling us about earlier on. But if I can find the 20-period chart here for HUD 8, I mean, my charts are all over the place today. And here it is right here. This is why we like this. This is the $10 right here. So maybe I can blow this up. This is why. I keep blowing these things up and then losing it. This is 10 right here. So as you can see, we dipped down there and stopped before popping. And then the other day, that was basically basically the bottom, and then it turned into resistance. So then we get that move down to $8 yesterday, which was unbelievable. And then today we were like, okay, we reloaded that yesterday all the way back upside. I wasn't able to get in. This is a name that I'm recently invested in. So I'm all aboard on HUT. I'm going to be trading this more. I don't care what anybody says. I do trade my book more than I trade most other things. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. If you know more about something, like I know the way HUT now trades when crypto crashes. It trades horribly to the downside and it overextends itself. So the next time we have a big crypto move, I'm actually going to look at something like a HUT and then move over to the coins themselves. Like recently I bought Solana, I bought Cardano, I bought Crypto Coin, CRO, Crypto.com coin. We bought some more Bitcoin. My Ethereum's last buy was at 4,050 or so like that. They're all kind of roughly where they are right now. My biggest disappointment, of course, has to be Cardano that was at $3. Now is at 140. So they've just dropped basically from 2 down to 140. I think you got to pick that up. But to join me with my Coinbase trades, man, HUT is now in the building. So I actually have more money now in HUT than I do in Coinbase because we recently sold off some Coinbase. I think you weren't here, but Neil was. This was right before earnings right here. It completed the U, and I was like, you know what? If we're going to get back to these sort of inflated prices here off IPO, then I'm going to sell. We didn't get rid of it all. We got rid of 15%, which is nothing, but now it's dipped way down. I can't believe, Arun, some of these prices that I missed in the last 2 days. Look, I'm glad to be back, and I don't know if the market is doing this, but like if we were down here, man, 258, 240, did you guys have a look at HUT or Coin yesterday or anything, because it's rocking and rolling, these stocks?
Coin, I think we looked at. I'm not sure I can't even remember what we did with Coin, but it was something that we definitely looked at on Coin. HUT though, we looked at this morning.
Yep.
HUT came up this morning, and I mentioned, I don't want to do anything with it until we cross this like 1025, 1030 area, somewhere around there. Going back to this, the late session, or not even late session, it's like mid-morning on the 3rd when we bounced above 10. I wasn't going to go for the straight 10 break because of this action, but if we cleared somewhere north of that and traded well, there could be a long. Well, we haven't fully cleared it, but it does look like we're trading well. So as long as we can extend this to the upside a little bit, then that level's broken.
Apple.
And then you can actually go for a nice little long to the upside here. So that's one play. HUT's definitely setting up along there. As I can hear you talking about Apple. I imagine it's coming off a little bit.
Look at the futures, baby.
Futures coming off a little bit. This is exactly the
that.
concern, right? This is why I dumped that NVIDIA trade earlier, because it's about time. It's about time during the day where profit taking needs to be done, and anything that's up strong that hasn't really come back, it's kind of ripe for that. And kind of in this case, in NVIDIA's case, I just saved myself $2 getting out there. So do I still have positions? Yes, FDX and AAL, but we're still waiting on those two positions. AAL's moving to the upside, but I knew AAL was going to be a mess given what happened right at the open and me being long up there. This is more of damage control than it is a profit. I'm going to have to take a hit. I just got to figure out where it's going to be. That's not going to be a winner at all. And FedEx, it's going sideways. It can still break out to the upside. There's still hope for that one. But in terms of AAL, there's zero hope that this one turns into a profit. I just got to figure out how much of a loss I'm going to take. And futures coming off a little bit. This could be a nice little opportunity to go get some longs if we can actually get a setup on the futures, because it's about time this happens.
It's funny you mentioned that there, as it's 2:40, guys. Welcome and thank you for joining us one more time. I'll be back in the saddle tomorrow, and I want to thank you, Arun, again. Great professionalism, and it's always nice to get a second and third and fourth opinions on all these stocks, as we get some from our viewers, we get some from you, myself, Brendan. Then tomorrow, Neil will be back. And here's Apple. We just not crashed down. We came back down in, and I did get some out there. I'm only holding about 65% now. And I just want to show you here before I show you the chart of what Apple's doing. So we see 169.60. Again, I was talking about some of these open ranges, right? So when we just came back here into the 40s, which is right where we opened, that was an area for me to get out. The next level is going to be down here, 169.20, then 169, and then hopefully we can hold like 40% or something in case we get that break. So here's just what the chart looks like now. And again, I apologize for all these wicks. We did try a long, but this is really this is the real trade here. We tested a long in front of 170. We switched up our opinion here. We should have gone short the futures there, Arun, when we asked, but we're happy with Apple right now, starting to make moves to the downside. And again, the reason why I just thought you're going to come at the king today, then the king falls if the futures come down. So we'll wait to see. We still have our outs. up here around 170, 170.25. So we could wind up losing on that, but there's a few more outs right there. So we took a 63, 50, and then we took a 43 or 44. So we got right back into that area. Now my bids are in the 20s and then the even. So I definitely think there's a nice opportunity here for Apple to get faded down a little bit, because there's the NASDAQ. It's bouncing right now off these levels. If we crack below the 16,270, something like that, downside, then yeah, that is going to be hopefully cascading to the downside here for AAPL. And thank you as well for people in the chat there. I don't know what happened to my SEC cup, because you know what? I was actually talking, oh, look at that, a bad wick down there. Come on. Now I'm not going to be able to look at this chart until I fix it. Greg actually had an interesting thing. When I told him that I found this SEC cup in our kitchen, he said, watch out, because maybe it's bugged. Like there's like a little microphone there. So I got rid of it. I actually smashed it on there. No, I didn't do that. Just playing around, but I don't have the SEC mug anymore. I feel like it might be bad luck. So what we're back is into the hot fire blue.
That's
favorite
nice
color, Arun?
That's nice and plain. I'm red. I like red.
Red is your favorite color?
As you can see by my car.
You can't say green? Come on, man. You can't say green?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Your car is red. Yeah, I should have guessed that one. That's a good one there. What's your favorite color there in the chat? And Brendan, I think Brendan's is going to be a very exciting gray, is what I think.
No. I feel like Brendan's got more style than that. I feel like he's like a light blue.
Light brown.
No, light blue kind of guy.
Beige.
No. I'm gonna say light blue. A little bit
Light
light
blue.
Light blue, like a sky blue type of guy.
What? I don't understand. Like Prad's like waiting over in the corner over here. Greg, what was that? What was your vote? Brown.
Brown. Yeah.
Prad?
Black.
Blue.
I was right, close enough. I said sky blue.
Light blue.
Isn't that sky blue?
Is it sky blue?
Brown. Like,
I don't know, man. You got to go to your local. What is it? Well, I don't know what's in the States here. We have Dulux here, or what's the painting?
Williams.
Williams. Not Sherwin-Williams. Yeah,
that's one. Yeah.
But that's not the most famous one. There's a very
I
popular.
know there's a Dulux too.
Dulux. Yeah. Anyways, we're idiots. Okay. So yeah, Brendan. So I was wrong with gray, but there it is. Light blue. Robin's egg blue. Okay. Coin at the high of day. Okay. Let's go back to trading some stock now. So again, Apple, we're in the money here. 10 cents. Nah. We're just going to leave this one. We already have our out. It's not at VWAP, because this VWAP doesn't make any sense. It's much lower than that. It's like 170.25 or so is where we're looking to get out of Apple. So let's look at coin now. I look 51 and change. Bitcoin. Made a nice high there today. This is obviously a daily chart. Let's just check out a 1 minute chart. Prad, what's your favorite color? If you just yell it out. I think Prad's is going to be green. I always see this guy in green. So
What's the color of Super Chicken? Yellow?
He said green. I think he said green.
What did you say? It's red because all he does is lose money, he says.
A host of our trading show.
There you go.
Watch it.
Expert trader, guys.
Yeah, no, we'll work expert. Wow, we're hard, man, today. I'm having some fun, though, and I'm really glad to be here. But, okay, so welcome back for me, I guess, today. 52,000 high right now. Bitcoin now pulling back about a G note right there. So a car payment back down in here for BTC, back down to 51 and change. This is not helping my HUD 8 position, but you want to talk about Coinbase. So I think this is pretty stable right here, so I'm not too worried. And I think Coinbase, although hasn't really detached, decoupled from the price of Bitcoin, it still does, follow sort of the sentiment here with Bitcoin. You could see it's not doing, this is not the kind of trading for me. I almost think that there's an algorithm or some sort of a black box that seems to be buying and selling and buying and selling. Like, I don't know what program is on here, but each one of these moves looks like about 40 pennies, something like that, up and down. So I like Coinbase here for a short when I look at this level, because really you got to come back into 286 before we do anything on the long. I think you got to defend up here, but it's been a nice move upside. Like, why is this name up 10%? I don't know. The same reason why HUD is up 10% as well. I think the stabilization in the crypto market has definitely meant something. But again, Coinbase should have been, this was a hand over fist area. I really hope that when Neil comes back tomorrow, he's in his own account buying some of this up, because that was a great level there. I wish I would have seen this yesterday. Like I said, I was in buying other names like NVIDIA, but that Coinbase is a great dip buy right there. I'm going to be off of it, so thank you for the super chat, or thank you for asking about Coinbase. But for right now, man, this 288.50, I like to break long on that name, so that's what I look for on Coinbase. Break long, 288.50 right there. Dominic with the super chat. ASXC, cobalt blue, AX. Look as I'm typing AX. It's XS. So AX. It's ASXC. Ooh, okay.
For you, Sean.
Is it Amex? Okay, okay. Here we go. 143. No, I'm fine. Actually, it's just I'm reading it. I'm like AS. Because when you don't know the symbols, like it's very, very tough to see this. 22% to the upside right now. Yeah, Dominic. I mean, honestly, unless there's some kind of news, you're right at these levels right now. If you're going to ask me what to do with this, I'd say sell. You're right at this 150. We've been here before. You had a nice bump from $110 yesterday up to 150 right now. Enjoy your 23% and fly away would be my guess on this one. But again, a take of 150 is not bad. So what I would do here, if you're already long, I'd get out like anywhere from 44 up to 48, something like that. Get out, and then if it breaks back, then put in a stop buy order. If it breaks above 150, take shares again. So that's what I would do, man. Just like give up the 2 or 3 cents. Get out of your position here. If you're long like 120, get out and then get back in if it breaks 150 because we've seen what Seattle Mobile did today. It hit some highs and then just tanked the rest of the day. So be careful with ASXC. Thank you, my man. Dominic, what's up to the Packers?
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add. Brendan?
I was trying to find our stool that's supposed to be behind our desk, but it is not right now. Anyway, there's this AeroVironment as well that we were talking about this morning that came up. I think it was about 10:45 or 10:50 or so. Let's double check here. We're down huge though on this regardless. Sorry, it was 10:15 this came up. Their earnings got leaked or something along those lines, but they reported earnings about an hour into the session. And this happened. So we're just starting to peak back up here. Just saw this pop back up on a volume scanner once again, trying to hold some levels here. But AV down huge after earnings, obviously not good.
AV. I remember when you brought this up to us earlier today, AV, and it was absolutely nuts. I was just like, how do you even trade? I think it was at like 56 or something. I was looking and I'm like, wait, there's actually no volume on it since it's calmed down and it's actually traded and now we're at 2.8 million shares. But I remember during the drop, there was no volume on it. I'm like, there's no way you can trade this because you can't get out. Let's just say you get in, you can't get out because the spreads, even now the spread's about 25 cents, but earlier it was a lot larger than this. And think about it, for a stock that fell from 79 bucks to 54 in about, 20 minutes, and had done very little volume, obviously you're going to have a problem trying to trade this, right? Now it's kind of calmed down a bit. Now mark off some levels because this is what I'm talking about. Set something up for another day because there will be a trade to be made here, whether it's back to the upside above 62 or whether it's an extension through the bottom of 53.50. There's going to be a trade that's going to be available given how it's going sideways. Now, one thing you have to consider is there going to be volume? As soon as you can get confirmation that there's going to be volumes to trade with, how do you get that confirmation? Just check the spreads, check the liquidity, and in the event that's trading pre-market, how much has traded in the pre-market? The last thing you want to do is start trading a stock where there's very little liquidity, spreads are huge, and you're going to have a hard time getting out. It might be easy to get in because you might be lucky when one time where the spreads are small, you decide to cross. But in the event that you get in, just make sure you have an exit path available as well. So AV, for now it's done to 2.79 million shares. If it can maintain some volume as well tomorrow, there might be a trade to be made, whether it's to the upside above 62 or through the downside of 53.50.
Yeah, I was looking at this ASXC here and trying to watch out for my Apple as it's kind of, oh man, that's right, I have to edit the chart here on Apple. Not doing a hell of a lot. Let's go over to Lucid quickly here as we have a one-day chart up. Let's go to the 1 minute look here on Lucid. And it actually just dipped down again into an area that maybe we should have bought. 43 has held numerous times here on LCID. So this is going to be a spot that we need to look at if it comes back in. So I think we're going to try to go long one more time. 43.25 or 6 there on LCID. Let's check out Nio quickly as it's been off the radar today and deservingly so, I guess. It's been pretty flatlined there. It does the typical, well, it actually does the opposite Nio move. It rips up early, but then actually that's right before open, takes off. Wow, that took off aggressively there, up about $1 right before the open, and then has just been crash city now on Nio back to 32.80 and change. I really apologize. Like, I don't have too many positions on right now as we're going to get ready for Justin to come on here and do a little talk. But you know, these are at nice levels again. We've seen Alibaba retrace a little bit here today. Nio looking like the same type of thing here, trying to make these bottoms at around 32, 33 bucks. I've had enough with Alibaba, to be honest with you, and I did sell some of my position at 122 on, what day was I here? I wasn't here. On Thursday, when some of that delisting talk happened with Didi and then Alibaba. I still believe Alibaba is a super strong company. I've actually done some channel checks there in China with some people that I know. And there's nothing wrong with the company. It's all the rhetoric right now that's surrounding, you know, Chinese online e-commerce and then exactly the role the government's going to play and their relationships here with the United States. So I don't know, it's not a great one. I'm going to stay away from these names, but I do like Alibaba. And I've always said, if you are into some of these Chinese names, why not just look at the ETF, FXI, right here for China. You've seen a nice little bottoming out there, and you don't have the same kind of risk exposure. I don't think this is going to drop 20, 30% overnight like some of these other names will. So I like this one for a little bit more of exposure here. FXI, the China big cap.
China big cap provided an opportunity earlier this week. Where late last week too.
Yep.
The last few days have been really hot in the Chinese names, right? As intraday day traders, and that's the only way I'm going to speak about this. As intraday day traders, this kind of movement provides a ton of opportunity. We talked about this. Baba short around that 119 on Friday would have been gold. That long above 115, or even the draw like long into the pullback here around that 112 could have been gold. 115 long lay after the open could have been nice. It's just providing opportunities for whether you want to play on the short side or the long side. Now, for investing or for swing trading, that's a different story. I'm not going to talk about this because I'm a trader first and I'm going to day trader first. So I'm going to talk about day trading side of things. It's going to provide opportunities. 129 break to the downside could have given you what, $3? Take that money, walk away, find another trade, right? Simple as that. There's Baba, you have Didi's going to be a lot slower because that's a little bit, it's a lower price name. It's going to have a lot more interest in it. Baba, Pinduoduo, JD.com. You have named Baidu. You have names that you can play that for just straight up movement. Now, if I were to just go over to say JD.com, and it's New York? NASDAQ, it is NASDAQ, okay. If we were to just play JD.com for straight up movement, Friday, not Friday, the third, what was that? The third would have been, it was Friday. Would have been absolutely gold. And then, was it available today and yesterday? No. It's one day, you make as much as you possibly can in the one day when it moves, and then you move on to something else. So take it while they're hot, and right now Baba still seems like it's got some activity, so milk it for all it's worth. Brendan?
All right, guys, first off, we're going to get to Justin here in a second, but I wanted to mention this one real quick. Aytu, 15%. It came off, obviously, significantly here, but huge volume coming in after they got orphan drug designation for one of the treatments they were working on. So that just out, FDA orphan drug designation for Aytu. Pretty weak stock overall. You can see daily time frame, but a heads up. Volume coming into that one. As mentioned, our friend Justin is back. Day Trade the World Marketing Guy to discuss all things tech related for a Tuesday, including this Activision Blizzard Raven story. I keep saying that because it's their quality assurance company. But tell us about these layoffs, because the story seems to kind of gain some traction as it goes on.
Right. So, certainly the layoffs are certainly gathering a lot more speed or getting a lot more attention now on social media now that the Activision Blizzard King Workers Alliance has launched #WeAreRaven on Twitter today to highlight the stories of those who have been affected. And really the story is here. December the 3rd, people were notified that certain individuals, 12 QA testers, were notified that they would be unemployed effective January 28th of next year. So I reached out to the Workers Alliance and had a conversation with them, and they had stated, they came back with a bunch of answers to their questions. And the first thing that jumped out at me was that the leadership at Raven had made a number of statements or much comments around positive departmental changes were coming, which sounds great. And really, it started off in a pretty good spot where there was promises about a position title update as well as some pay raises. So that sounds great. Everybody likes a new job title and certainly more money. However, those changes had to be halted because Activision needed to make some decisions around that pay raise and paid vacation time for contractors, which, from what I understand from our conversation, that was something that went through. And December the 3rd was the day for this first paycheck with the new compensation. So it seemed like everything was fine and they would be kind of moving on to business as usual. However, December the 3rd was the day that people found out they were either being let go or had their pay increased to $18.50. So it seems now like the story has kind of changed. Were they holding off on announcing some of these changes while they figured out who they were going to let go? And did people get a raise based on the people that were now found themselves or will find themselves in a matter of a month or so
sadly unemployed.
Sadly unemployed right after the holidays, which is not the best time. So the team kind of approached Raven and said, how are we handling the workload? And what has happened over the course of the last couple of months is that, and really throughout the year, was that Raven employees were actually dealing with Activision's QA staff. They were kind of working with them. Now they have offices across the United States and as well in Shanghai. So certainly not one of the offices, but many offices. And what they're starting to feel now is that their job could be outsourced, now that they're starting to do a lot more of this work with Activision's own QA staff. As I mentioned earlier this morning, they don't offer any relocation assistance. So, the Workers Alliance certainly isn't very happy about the fact that their temporary contractors are not getting any relocation assistance, which is kind of standard, I think. However, maybe this is kind of a time to say, hey, we understand that this is a very challenging time in history. Maybe we need to be a little bit more sympathetic. So, Raven's kind of response to this has been pretty abysmal. Their leadership is saying these aren't layoffs because they're temporary contractors, which is kind of a curious response. I mean, somebody who goes from employed to unemployed, that's a layoff. So whether or not they're full-time or not shouldn't really matter. But no official response has been posted anywhere on Raven's or Activision's public social media channels. So who knows what's gonna happen with that? Good
of them, I should say, to at least draft something and send it to you as an actual separate response. Here's Activision Blizzard, guys, still up on the day. I mean, the market's up huge, obviously. So 1.6%, back to 59 area. But I mean, the stock, as we've said, has just been under so much pressure and continues to be. Twitter making more changes today as well.
Right. So Twitter, we found out earlier this morning that Twitter acquired Quill, a messaging service that is similar to Slack. No terms of the deal have been disclosed, but this company, Quill, has raised $16 million in the past from Sam Altman and Index Ventures. It looks like the team is going to move on to Twitter's experience side of the business, working on direct messaging. So could be that direct messaging will be a standalone product. The one update that I got from this story was that Quill is now saying you have 4 days to download all your data, and all their customers are understandably angry about having only 4 days to download everything that they've ever had on the platform. So not a lot of happiness about that. No comment from Quill on that, unfortunately. So an interesting acquisition for sure. I mean, I think that the DM product has been a product that by and large hasn't really changed. I mean, you've seen a couple kind of changes to how how the product works and how it looks, but private messaging on Twitter really hasn't changed much since the product launched.
Yeah, so maybe we get more integration. Maybe we get a revised version. But as you said, this is an acquisition that just gets eaten up and put in a closet somewhere, and may never see the light of day ever again.
Right. The product isn't going to survive, but the team working on it obviously will, and certainly they're as I said earlier, they're going to share their expertise and bring it into their direct messaging product, and maybe we'll see something standalone at the end of the year. So
to wrap up, Facebook had a pretty good day today, obviously, but specifically Instagram implementing some new parental controls today.
Right. So Instagram launching some new parental controls ahead of their testimony tomorrow at Senate. Instagram head Adam Mosseri is testifying tomorrow at Senate about how their app is affecting teens' mental health. So we've heard a lot about this in the past, and certainly this year, especially in the against the backdrop of Frances Haugen and the Facebook leaks and some of the things that have come out. They have started to work on some new features, a revamp of some existing features. But one of the big features that's being launched is seeing how much time you're spending on the platform. So this is a great tool for parents who are looking to understand how much time is my kid spending on Instagram. Setting screen time limits, and also take a break is a new feature that's being tested. It was launched today, available in the US, UK, Ireland, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Gives you a timer that you can press on the phone and times you out essentially for 30 minutes. So from what they're saying, their early research says that 90% of the people who turn it on actually keep it on. So certainly there's definitely some what's the word I'm looking for here? Self-awareness in terms of how much time is being used on these platforms, and we'll see. But I will be covering tomorrow's Senate testimony on Twitter at TraderTV Justin as well, and talking about it here in the afternoon. Certainly having some updates on that front. So that's going to be really interesting. This will be the first time they're talking to Senate. So I'm very, very curious to see what they say.
And one of those events always that can produce headlines and can produce movement in the market, which is why we like to look at things of that nature. I was just going to mention, most phones now have that feature where you can see not only how much you're staring at your phone or how long in a day you're staring at your phone, but it actually breaks down what times for each app. So I wonder if it's along those kind of same terms.
Absolutely. I think the mobile phone manufacturers are very aware of just how much time people are spending on this. Apple's been building these features into the last few versions of iOS. They've started to build in features as well to encourage you to spend more time by changing the screen color and making it more I guess easier on the eyes if you're using it at 10 o'clock at night when you probably should be sleeping. So certainly there is an increased amount of awareness when it comes to these things, and really it's good to see that they're finally taking this seriously. Social media addiction is a bit of an issue, and they're certainly starting to become more aware of just how rampant that problem is.
More to come tomorrow on this and much more. As always, Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy, our tech guru, if you will, going to be covering that Senate hearing, as we said, tomorrow with Facebook. So we'll see what happens coming out of that. Thanks as always.
Thanks, Brendan.
Guys.
Guru, I like that. I'll take the tech guru. That's a good call there. I love that. And I just said to Arun, maybe he'll just go on the whole show. I mean, very interesting stuff.
You can take my seat right here.
Yeah, you can also take my seat as well. Justin, whenever you are ready to rock and roll, come on here. And it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see me and you up there and then Justin and Brendan down here. But we've got our roles, so let's stick with those right now. PayPal falling back in here. I was going to go long on PayPal, and then I realized, hey, Ms. V in the background. I did see a nice little drop down here. And then I was thinking to myself, you know what? If I go short PayPal if I go long PayPal, I'll be cheering for the futures to go up. But then I'm short right now Apple on that play as well. So for right now, it's not looking too great on the Apple short. It just did come in for me. We did average this trade. Oh man, I got to get rid of this. What is this? 439. So we did average in. Just hold on with me for a second here. 239. I got to change this. You see, it says the low here 157. I'll just make this 169.63 there, so we can easily see a little bit better. There it is. So we averaged into the short there at 170.05 or whatever it was. Right there, we waited for tens. We didn't get it, and then it dipped right back into the price we're short at, 169.80. And it's just funny, like that's literally the price. You can see the price I'm short right now. It stops at my averaged in price and then makes a move back to the upside. So I don't know. I think I'm just trading the wrong name here. I really thought Apple would give it up a little bit. Obviously not true, as right now Apple's continuing to be the strongest name here. So I shouldn't be surprised if this wants to take out some highs, as the NASDAQ pumps. So we're going to get at 170.20 is my out. So that's where I'm sort of targeted right here to get out of 170.20, 25 or so on Apple in case we fail, guys.
All right, before I continue on any stocks, Nikki Boone's happy birthday. Clearly a pretty good birthday, I would say. Markets are up huge. So thank you for being a member for 3 months. Huge market up on your birthday. So I think that's one thing you're going to definitely remember this year. Okay, going back to futures, not just futures, stocks. FedEx, I've dumped my position on FedEx. I took a whole penny, covered the cost of getting into this position. I Yes, I'm slightly on the buy side, or on the positive side, after making a full penny on FedEx. We're walking away from that one. We're running out of time. It's doing a whole lot of nothing. Can it still go? Yes, but is it worth holding on to it? No. So I'm just going to walk away from FedEx. And the last one I've got, AL. I think I've decided that I'm going to try to dump this in front of 30 if I can get it. I mean, there's no chance, like highly unlikely it goes back up to 1850. So I'll just take a 20-cent hit or 5-cent hit on AL if I can get that. Otherwise, I'll just hold it till we get these imbalances. Maybe I get lucky with a buy-side imbalance. Markets are up. Maybe it's going to be a buy-side imbalance. If we get that run, I'll just get out on that pop to the upside. Futures, there was a move to the downside, and we're not getting anything. We kind of just went sideways again. It's not doing a whole lot, and we're running out of time before this market needs to close. So futures markets are going to close in about 1 hour and 10. Stock market closes in about 55 minutes. So we are running out of time in terms of the actual stock market itself closing, and doesn't look like this market wants to come off. There's still a chance in the next, I want to say 40 minutes, that there's a move to the downside from profit-taking selling. The way I would argue that would happen is, and this is just based on how I've seen it happen before, is that we put in a new high and then completely reverse the high. That I've seen before. So it's entirely possible that we get that kind of a move given how close we are to 4,700, but at the same time, there's been these odd and rare situations where the market never does this. It just goes sideways and then decides it wants to extend again, and we never get that sell-off that I'm looking forward to, because that would be a nice little opportunity to use to go to the buy side with that. But for now, market's going sideways there, and people were like, oh, well, why don't you take a look at the NASDAQ futures once in a while as well? Primarily, I trade the S&P 500. That's why most of the time I'm giving you guys updates on the S&P 500 or the E-mini contracts there. But NASDAQ has space all the way down to 16,200. And we're at what, 16.3, about 45 points, not even 45 points, about like 30 points from the highs. So there's definitely an opportunity for this market to extend to new highs on the NASDAQ. We're up, what, 3% on the NASDAQ? There's a lot of space to move around, though. That's the problem. There's a lot of space to the downside. We can actually go down about, what is it, like 80, 90 points and still be positive. And when I mean positive, it can still be a buy-side move, because that'll just be a move down into support, which you can then use to kind of catch the bounce and go back to the upside. So this market has a lot of space to the downside. It can go, and still the buy-side bias will still be in effect. So just be careful as we get closer and closer to the end of the day. And like I said off the top, my concern at this time of day is that there's going to be a lot of people trying to take profit. The intraday short-term traders are looking to take profit. Obviously, the people that are holding longer are going to welcome this and try to extend this another day. But for now, though, just be smart about how you're trading. If you're up big, maybe take some profit. I don't know. It depends on how your stock's moving too, right? Like my stock, NVIDIA, was tipping its hand on how it wanted to come off a little bit, so I just dumped it. But then at the same time, I held on to FedEx until I got out flat, because I just ran out of time there. And then AL, I'm looking to take a hit once we get out. So you do have to adjust and kind of move targets around based on how your stock is individually reacting. I know Sean was short Apple. Apple had to move to the downside, slightly to the downside, and then kind of just turned completely off this, 169.50-ish, and now here we are back above 170 and change. Brendan?
There's a few people circulating this note on the Pfizer vaccine. A little bit strange on the wording here, but Omicron doesn't escape Pfizer vaccine impact completely. So decipher from that what you will. There was a little bit of a spike there when that came out on Pfizer here, guys.
Pfizer does not escape. Okay, so that's good for Pfizer. Okay, so does not escape. Okay, making sense there. So Apple, unfortunately, guys, we will flush it down. We'll put the stock in the gates of hell, although it's like one of my favorite stocks, but it can go there for today. We just get flushed out there at that 125. We did re-enter another trade. We'll see if we can make some back here on the downside, as it looks like we were trying to top out there at this 130, 135 or so. So we did take another spot there on Apple. We should have taken a few more shares. there. So let's do that right now at 119 or so, sorry, 170.19, something like that. There it is. So we'll average into this trade. Hey man, this could still be a problem. So down to 170, 169, 168.80, something like that. If we're lucky enough to get this trade off, then we'll make back a little piece, and then that'll be that. Otherwise, I'm gonna. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm just gonna wait until 170.40. Like, I just keep on shooting myself in the face here with this Apple, but we'll let it go and see if we can make it back. I still feel like the market wants to fall here. We probably have the wrong name on board. Help me out with something. If there's another name you guys want me to look at, we'll definitely have that. And then here's Clover. So we're into another name here. I mean, Clover's up a little bit too high today, up 7 and bit percentage points. So we did a starter position just to watch this at 468. My idea here, and I have some more bids down here, 64. We break through 65. We'll take that. I just want to see what happens down here around 460. So we're starting to give a little bit of a position here with Clover, just to see. It's right near VWAP here. The market's obviously coming down a little bit. We'll see if Clover can withstand this. There you go. So now you see a bid taken through here at 64, and then we'll wait to see what happens around 60 here for Clover. So some more downside. We won't touch this name until we get once again to 60, and then hopefully we don't continue to bleed to the downside on this name. That's going to be Clover. We have Clover, Hut, and then SoFi. SoFi's not doing anything. We haven't really engaged in any other trades other than get out when it ticked up to the high here. I thought we'd be running to $17 today on SoFi. It doesn't look like it wants to do that, but we've made money on it today, so it's all good. We just don't want to give what we've made back already on SoFi. So a nice little move backside here, coming back in for SoFi. A good little area 50s if you want to try to protect that. I do see it. What's up, Bradley Taylor? Looks like you made the right purchases, man. You're in the right name. So I can't really tell you anything when to get out of, I think it was, what was it, DraftKings? Palantir. I can't remember some of the other names that you said that you got into on Friday. How far back do you think this will pull? I mean, it depends. If I'm long DraftKings, honestly, at $27, 28, 29, and it went right back to 32, I would have got out some today. I know it's hindsight, but we're only 50 cents away right now. So if you can get back into this area, especially right here, 35, I think like that's worth it, man, to get some out, and then you hold the rest. Kind of like, and it depends on your time frame here and what we're talking about. But for me, DraftKings got Chainosed all the way down here to 26, 27 bucks. These guys say this all the time. Like, I think it was Cooperman or something that came out, and it might have been Chainos again. I'm going to look this up now because maybe I can have a new arch nemesis here. And that is that I remember when Intel was like 42, 43 bucks, and then they came out and said, oh, we believe that Intel, we can unlock some value here, server side this and that, blah, blah, blah. Things spiked up 10%. Oh yeah. And then about a minute later, they disclosed like a $3 billion position or something in Intel. So I really don't like some of the games that happen there. So I wonder if that's what happened in DraftKings. Just watch out for some big selling coming through. I mean, I like the play DraftKings. It's just, again, a name with no profitability yet on DKNG. They're making moves, man. They're stepping into the NFT space. I like it. I like everything that they're doing. But at the same time, they're at this like kill zone right here of like 27, 28 bucks. I'd actually rather see it test one more time. But maybe we've seen the bottom on DraftKings, and sometimes you got to take that risk. So I like the buy down there. I think there's better names. I mean, I'd rather not be in Penn. Penn got the whole Barstool bump up there. We've talked about that. And then they buy the Score. I don't know if they got a good price on that or not, but you've seen since they've announced that, we've just been straight downside here on Penn. So this name also getting cracked, man. This was a great one as it started to rip up on Dave Portnoy and on some of that other news, exposure to the casinos. But my favorite one, as those of you that have been watching the show know, I don't think I can get enough win into the old account right now. Last buy was about 78 or 79. I think that was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. There it is right there. Some dip buys down here on Win. We first started buying, I think it was right around here, 85 or so, and then it dips down in. I like Win. I like them for the exposure that they have in Macau. I think if they can settle this down with some of these Chinese governments and whatnot, and Macau will get back going. And again, Win, we talked about this. The value right now of Win, Arun, 28 billion or so on the market cap, a little bit higher now. Their value of their properties alone valued at over 8 billion, let alone you got to buy the property and then build these casinos. So I like Win here, and I think this is a great honestly a great value play.
Isn't
down
that the
here.
same situation that Sears was in? Didn't Sears have their portfolio, their real estate portfolio was much larger than the value of the company?
Probably. I mean,
right?
A little different when you're in retail versus casinos, but yeah, JCPenney as well. Sears. Remember, Sears does wind up getting bought out, SHLD, for pennies on the dollar. Obviously, that's not going to happen to win, but they are a bio candidate, in my opinion, with such a small market cap. So, hey, if things get sorted out on the casino front, apparently, you guys tell me, apparently Vegas is bumping. Like, I don't know, just crazy. So we'll wait to see what's going on with Vegas. Hey, I'm a fan.
I mean, it's not surprising though. Just on the radio earlier today, I heard like there's a bunch of new residencies. Apparently, John Legend's got a new residency. Adele's got a residency. There's a lot of residencies. So a lot of people are moving, or a lot of celebrity singers are moving.
Neil's got a residency.
Neil's got a residency. He does stand-up comedy there. You guys wanted to know?
Yep. He looks a lot of gift horses in the mouth there. And it's
Absolutely.
like, apparently it's killing it over there in Vegas. So yeah, congratulations, Neil, on that.
There you go. A couple names that set it up for another day. And at this point, I've got one trade left, and it's just damage control on that. So I'm going to start looking for trades that I can work with, maybe for tomorrow. BA, a name that I actually was trying to get my hands on. I just didn't get a fill because my price was much lower than the market wanted to come. But there was a nice little bid here around this 206 area. So now, as we're trading through 210, 211, if we break back underneath 209, there might be something, because that'll establish a nice little overhead resistance level. So if we break to the downside, possible shorts on the table, depending on where we open tomorrow. But if we were to break 209, I would say I would mark off 212 and see how we trade tomorrow for a potential short there. Even a breakout long above 212 could work as well, as long as we broke below 209. Another trade that you guys are talking about, Lucid. Lucid is, moving. That's a good thing. We traded Lucid yesterday when it was trading around 39. We were short for a bit. It was in the money for like $1 and change, and then it reversed. We took a 50-cent hit, then spun it and went long and made like $1.50 or something like that. And then we kind of got out, walked away, and now here we are trading above 47 to start, and then dropping to 43, went as high as 44.50-ish, and now back down to 43, near the lows of the day, actually. What do you have down below? It's going to be this area. It's going to be that 42 to 41 area that you got to keep an eye on, because that provided a decent amount of support after we initially put in that bottom and kind of ran right through, because I caught it, although I was long at 42, because I caught it on the run up. But even then, a secondary long was available around that 42.20 area. So in the event if this were to come down to that area, there could be actually a decent long there. There's some support that you can work with on that price point or around that price point. Some other names that I still have that, the alerts are there, but they haven't hit yet. So it might be in play for another CrowdStrike, CRWD. I've got 190 marked off. Now, 190 is about $13 from where we are. The reason I have 190 is if we were to dip under 200, there's going to be a decent amount of support under around that 197, 196 area. As long as you can get confirmation of support, meaning there's some volume to the buy side that comes in below 200, even if we were to break 200 and come right back and stay strong, there could be a nice little level to work with on Crowd. So keep an eye on that. 190 would be the break point. South of 200 is where you want to get that long if you can get it, but you got to wait for that setup though. You got to wait for that buy side volume to come in to confirm that the strength is there, because this kind of a name at $200, if it decides to actually start shooting down, it will go fast. So you just want to avoid that mess. But if you wait for that confirmation of strength there, then you can definitely catch a trade there. That's one name. Caterpillar was another name that I've been actually trading for the last few days. I think since Friday I've been working with Caterpillar. You noticed me trading it yesterday. That long late in the session north of 200. Now I have Caterpillar, the stop. This is actually like part of the same trade from yesterday. 198 is going to be the stop on this, and preferably inside of this range, pretty much where you see all these arrows from yesterday where I got out. That's where the support is, around that 202.50, 203 mark. Now today we didn't get below 203. I was hoping we can get somewhere around 202.50-ish to kind of get along, but we didn't get that. But keep an eye on these levels. The 198 would have to be the break point. South of 203 into that 202.50 could be a nice little trade to work with. That's all I've got. I've got some more, but I can always go through them as we continue on. Sean, you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, just trying to watch this Apple trade, man. I mean, we've taken some risks on this. It hasn't really paid off. We've been going short. It's been slow cuts, right, on Apple. But we're going to be bidding again here in the like 04s where we got out the first time. We actually got out 05 there. We'll bid there again and then see if that's going to come through for us. But I'm a little disappointed here because you could see the futures are starting to crack downside here a little bit. And I've just, again, been picking, like I've been talking about going short since we started the show, excuse me. Since then, it's just not much happening here for AAPL, if anything, getting stopped out on some of those high trades. So we're going to wait right there. That was the stop out there, but we reloaded, and now we're back to the short end and just took 20 cents or so, but I guess it was 15 cents. We'll see if we could take another spot right now, but I'm getting a little frustrated here sitting around holding this. Maybe you have to look at another name, like I was saying, like a PayPal, something like that that's been weak. Not an NVIDIA, 321 for NVIDIA. What's up, Rendo?
Just watching Zoom shares here, guys, coming under a little bit of pressure. Some sell volume coming in now. It did take a little while, but Google just came out and said they're going to introduce video conferencing interoperability for Google Meets with Cisco WebEx. So taking more, I guess, of a piece of Zoom's pie possibly for Google there, guys.
It's not even surprising to me. I'm surprised. What is surprising is that this didn't happen earlier.
Before, yeah.
Because Microsoft has Teams, I believe, or is it Google that has Teams? Microsoft has Teams.
I think so. I mean,
and then Google has Workspaces.
Whatever it is.
Anyway,
they have Google Meet.
Yeah, and WebEx. Cisco has WebEx.
Cisco, yep.
There's a lot of firms have access to.
This is better news for Cisco, in my opinion.
It's going to be better for competitors in general. Zoom has been one thing. Is it's now in the lexicon. People are just they'll just hit me up on Zoom or talk to me on Zoom or whatever. But there are other products out there. Obviously, Google is going to step in. They already have people on Gmail. All you need to do is add one more video calling conference type of situation there. Kind of push it out there and just get enough people on it, and that's it. There goes Zoom's entire customer base, right? So it's there. Zoom will do its best to hold on to it, obviously, but it's in a tough space right now with a lot of big leaders that already have the market share to kind of just push more product in there. And I think Meta has something too.
Yeah, they all do.
I forgot what it's called. Zoom. Let's get this chart up here. What is Zoom doing? I was looking at it this morning, but I was like, there's nothing to do with this chart based on the way it was trading. And the reaction is what, 190 to 187. It's kind of muted. This was what, at one point $300 or something like that?
Even more.
More than that. And here it is now, just south of 200. Where's their
420 or so?
420. There you go. Where's Neil's?
Yeah, who knows? That's Lucas hits that over there. No, what am I talking about? Zoom's high, 575 right here on this chart right here. 575 Zoom high a year ago today, basically. Not today, but in October, 575.
There you go.
But that was pandemic, right?
There you go. But then you would hope that the company builds off of that strength.
Yeah.
So, and
I actually, you know what? I kind of.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of hating on Zoom a little bit, but I think that they've been depressed a lot here, and I think that Zoom does have an opportunity to be bought. I mean, it's definitely not my pick of the century or anything with that, but you know what else they could do? You're seeing Cisco here and Google kind of coming together to share their knowledge and I guess their software and some of the back end with Cisco. Maybe that does happen to Zoom and they can get, I don't want to say a buyout, but maybe they can get some support from a Meta platforms or something like that where they can come in. And again, look, I mean, the metaverse is going to need multiple participants in something like a Zoom, in teleconferencing, things like that. So, hey, I don't want to hang up our hat on that name quite yet. And I just want to look at Cisco. Nothing's happening. That was one of the names that I had on board right here. I thought it was better for Cisco than it is for Google. Obviously, I love Google, and it's one of the top holdings for me. So I'm just going to keep it as business as usual for Google right now. Okay, Clover, we didn't get that 60 flat that we wanted. Now we're just going to have to wait for this. I have a feeling, man, with only 30 minutes left in the day, that Clover's not going to do anything. It's nice to be up 7%. But again, this name's been beat down. It's very, very hard to ring any kind of registers on Clover here. That name just, I've actually recently doubled my position on Clover, but it cannot be in the money as nothing's happened here. We thought that this defend of 7, which is why we're long around 775. They miss on earnings. They get absolutely clobbered back down. We averaged in somewhere around here between 5 and 5.50. So it being at, I think anyways, so it being at this $4 mark, not good for me. We'll hope to see if Clover can make its move back to the upside. But for today, we'll hold out. We'll hold out hope that we get back into the mid 70s here. And at least we can ring the register a little bit on that one. What's up to Sam Troy? I've seen Sam. You've been in the chat a lot today, and I believe he's a Day Trade the World office. So we're going to say what's up to you guys. Big fans of us, big fans of you guys. Thank you for joining. And shout out to my man Dimitri or any of the Trading Floor Development teammates, old teammates, helping you guys get going. So that's really nice to see. Apple, we just rang the register again. So we'll rain down some money now. We're starting to sort of, get out of the Apple position here as we're seeing that it's working to the downside. When we started the show, man, we called the futures, Arun, starting to come back to the downside here. It's really sad that I pick Apple to short. I should have looked at something like an Airbnb or whatever you guys were talking about there. But right now, we'll take Apple short right now, 35 cents in the money. What's up?
A little more clarity on this Pfizer vaccine thing. This is a South African study. First of all, there was 12 people that were included in the study, all fully vaccinated with Pfizer. There was a 40-fold reduction in neutralization capacity. Again, absolutely no movement here on Pfizer stock on this headline, but take it as you will. Again, 40-fold reduction in neutralization capacity versus Omicron. I mean, it's 12 people in the study. They also said it's very, very preliminary data, and it most likely will change, guys.
Wow, 12 people. Slow down, but it's nice to get that information anyways. We could definitely have a look here at Pfizer. We're going to go to 169.85, my next level. Level of concern, if we're talking about variants of concern, levels of concern for me with Apple down there in the 80s. We'll see if we're lucky enough to get a bid down there. Back over to Pfizer, just like how I have no idea what that report means, apparently nobody else does either. As right here, Pfizer is literally doing absolutely nothing on some of these reports. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's a few more notes here. If you guys just Google Pfizer or something, Brendan has the news anyways. So not much happening with Pfizer today at all. Nice move higher in the open. And then now we've just kind of barcoded around here. I like Pfizer for longer term play. We've talked about that. I think that's something. AT&T, $23. Wow. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the space for Moderna and for Pfizer. Let's just check out what Moderna is doing. You know what? I mean, for a dividend, obviously, back down to 280. Okay. For a dividend and stuff, I mean, we can't sit here and not talk about Pfizer, but Moderna has, honestly, I've seen what they've been doing. Talk about HIV, talk about some of their drug preliminary cancer, relief or whatever they're doing for that as well. It's not a complete, cure, obviously, but there is something about that as well. So I think the mRNA technology is going to be obviously here to stay and could change the world. So you may want to get into some Moderna. I mean, their symbol is mRNA.
Well, it's been, from what I remember, the mRNA technology has been around for a while.
Decades, apparently.
Yeah, and this just kind of accelerated the acceptance of it, right? So this may be the new way vaccines are done. That remains to be seen. Future of medicine is always changing, just like future of technology, right? So as we get better in technology and people are more willing to accept new types of technology, you have adjustments being made in people's minds about what they're willing to take and what they're willing not to take. Now, futures-wise, we were expecting this kind of a draw. It was just a matter of when was this going to happen. This was expected. Okay, great. We're coming off a little bit now. The question is it going to accelerate? Because this is kind of muted. For what I was expecting for the sell down or the drawdown, this is somewhat muted. We're only down, 7, 8 points, and it was nice and little. We took a leisurely walk down the hill, pretty much, is what we did. But I'm looking for a full run out. If we don't get that full move, aggressive move to the downside, then you may not get a continued sell. This might actually be a nice little buy to step into. I'm still looking at the potential buy here. North of 46.70, we're still good. As long as we stay above this 46.70, longs are still on deck. As long as we can get a setup for it, I don't care if it's going to be at 75 or if it's going to be at 80. As long as we can get some form of a setup, I'm still okay with a long. I just don't want this to accelerate if I'm going to think long. Now, if we go to the downside, obviously 46.70 breaks, that's a different story. But this is kind of expected. This is what you need actually in a healthy market, profit taking being done, that the market can rebound from. So there goes the S&P futures. Let's take a quick look at the NASDAQ futures. What are you doing? NASDAQ's not doing a whole lot. NASDAQ's not moving as much as the S&P is, probably because tech is probably stronger. It's up 2.72% versus S&P's 1.91. So tech clearly stronger here, holding up well. And we have another, 75 points to the downside before we before I would consider us, the long side bias being done. We can still go, 16,220-ish and still be positive.
Yeah.
The bias could still be good. So this market just needs to take a move to the downside. If it needs to do it, just do it now, do it faster. As I talk about this, AAL refusing to get me out. Damn AAL, I knew I needed to get out of this, but I just was choosing 30 and looks like 20 was my best option. So now here I am long from this morning. Stupid CEO news from this morning, out 50 cents now, 54 cents. That's my only, to be fair, my only two losers that are gonna be really big are gonna be DKNG. You can see the similarities between the two losses. DKNG, long near the top, out just below 31.50. So that was a quick buck, and then it's gonna be this thing for about 50 or 60 cents by the time I get out of it. So those are the only two losses, but then I have the NVIDIAs and the GMEs and the Airbnb longs that kind of worked out and helped me kind of stay positive. So here we are kind of waiting as we come into the final half an hour of the day, and it does look like market wants to take a little break to the downside. I appreciate that, because keep going, because once we burn out, I'm going to go for the long.
Yeah, okay, so I mean, I'm hoping it still continues to go to the downside as well. As right now, AMC though, looking like it just broke. Obviously, it just broke VWAP there at about 31 bucks, and now you're starting to head to the downside. So I know there's a lot of not leaving hashtags and things like that, and you guys have been right if you haven't left yet, if you bought on Friday. But since then, man, or Thursday, Friday, yesterday, AMC's been getting destroyed here. I was really nervous, obviously, when we broke back down through 30, which was this bottom here. But you just got to be careful. Like, you got to watch out for the short interest. Don't get caught up in like 2020 news or early 2021 when this started to move. Again, we're going to watch AMC. We'll see what does happen, coming through on the new year. But I don't know, and I don't know if people are confident to go back to the theaters yet. I know in Canada we're a little more conservative than down south, so maybe they're getting some numbers back here, but I don't think our theaters are doing a whole hell of a lot. And I know that's not really the story with AMC. People holding on, they believe it. Look, they've restructured. If a lot of the shares remained in retail hands, and I don't know some of these stats right now, but AMC does have a chance to get back to the upside if we keep holding on to the shares. So AMC right there, again, whether or not you believe a squeeze or anything like that's about to happen, AMC is going to be interesting for at least, I would say at least another year, whether or not you're revalued or whatever happens here with AMC. Let's just see where we go with this one. I like the name, but cautiously like it, as you can't like it too much past 25, man. That was that tipping spot right there. So I think this is well worth the risk. Buy it at 30, out at 25, $5 worth of risk. You could do a hell of a lot worse in this market than $5 worth of risk for an upside move that could get you back into the mid 40s, I believe, anyways, if everything is right about this name. So we're going to watch out for that. We've been absolutely right about the futures, but wrong name, as it looks like Apple again, man. Like, just short anything else in the last half hour, Sean, and you would be cash money, but you didn't, so who cares? As Apple right now looks like it wants to take out the highs. Again, like, thanks, NASDAQ. Like, we called it. Like, I shorted Apple up here, man, in the NASDAQ, and now, pie on my face, because I always say, don't ever short Apple. And we do that, and now it looks like it's just not going to work. I tried the long, and then just very, very choppy right inside here. So looks like we will wind up losing a bit on Apple one more time. Disney back to that 150 level. That's a little bit interesting. Wow, here comes Lucid, someone just mentioned there in the chat. What's up to John L? Yeah, 40. Oh, shoot. Man, we missed this trade again. This was another bid for Lucid down here. We talked about buying Lucid at these levels. If it ever ticked down to 43.30 again, it does that. And now you're, boom, right back into the money. So I'm going to say congratulations for anybody who will explode some money there. I don't have this trade, but we did talk about it. Should have planted an order down there. Sometimes we get carried away with other ideas, but wow, there's Lucid right there off that bottom. And if we zoom this back out, I mean, numerous bottoms. This is, if you see the trade of the day, we love to protect some of these on Lucid. With that being said, let's just check out our friend Rivian here, what that's doing. So 115, 116 No friend of mine at these levels, guys. So Rivian not doing too much, but again, there's that dip right into 114. So we'll see both these names on watch tomorrow, both Rivian and Lucid for me. Definitely have to have our eyes on those.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm just
You
doing
need
some
me?
math. No. I'm just doing some math here. Okay. Futures coming off a little bit. I'm considering the idea of going short if we break these 46.70s. Is it going to pick up is my question. Obviously, this is the last little bit of support here. I can see a little bit of activity coming in. I'm starting to notice some volume coming in aggressively. Okay, that's good. Some sell side. This was expected. I just want some more action. As long as we get that action, I'm going to walk away from this. Very good question in the chat. I was long AAL. I got out just south of 1790, right? So it was like a 60-cent hit, 64-cent hit. And someone was wondering, why am I still long in AAL if it's against me? Well, because there are certain things you have to do as a trader. One of them is follow your rules. If you get into a trade and your profit targets are a certain way or at a certain place, and then your exit points or your stop losses are at a certain place, if it's trading in between, you don't just get out because it's bored or if it's trickling down against you or whatnot. In my case today, where I've started to notice acceleration to the downside, it's not going to be positive, I know that much. And we broke 18, and we're getting through the bottom there at 1790, and imbalances are going to come out. So in this case, I stepped in about 15 cents in front of my stop and got out. But in any other situation, I'm going to let it play out because stocks are always going to do that. They're always going to chop up, down, whatever. And you can't be, shook by that kind of movement because that's part of the market. So in my case, a lot of these times, if I'm in a position and it makes no sense for me to still be long, is because it's part of my rules. It's worked out for me well, so I'm going to keep following them. It may not make any sense to hold on because, well, it could have turned negative. Yeah, if it hit my stop at a certain point, I'm either going to get stopped out or I'm going to make money. Or I'm going to get new information that makes me change my read, like I did with FedEx. But that took how long? FedEx took me pretty much half the day, more than half the day, pretty much the majority of the trading day for me to finally figure out, you know what, this market's not going to work for me. This market's not going to go. And where did I get out? I got out 1 cent right here, covered my costs on this trade, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. You have three options. If you try to do anything in between, you're bound to lose money because then the odds aren't 50-50 anymore. You're actually stepping in front of your own strategy that you may have developed to help you kind of set some trades up. So just be very careful that when you are trading and you're making decisions that you allow your trades to work out, because that is crucial to your success rate. And I think that's the thing a lot of newer traders forget, or a lot of newer traders don't do, is that because they see a winner or they see a loser, they hesitate or they jump the gun a little bit and forget about the plan that's supposed to be executed at some point, because that's what kind of bails you out when you really need it. It's going to be following a plan, whatever your plan is. Everyone has different plans on how they want to trade, but just make sure the plan is executed, because that's the only real way to consistently pull in money.
I think you just might have hit the nail on the head there. Maybe we should do a video one day on stock market basics and stuff, like how to start in the stock market. So that's going to be a little bit of an inside joke for all of us. Hopefully we'll get that coming through soon, that exact video, and trying to help everybody, because we know that we have different viewers here. Some of you very, very seasoned, and some not. And if you are a seasoned trader, I think that those words can't be better said, man. You got to let your trades sort of build themselves out. And with that being said, that's kind of what I'm doing with Apple, man. We're trying to give it to some of these highs of 170.50, things like that, before we get knocked out of Apple. And now it's coming back in. So I actually, hopefully now, we can get some acceleration now to the downside as the future is starting to roll and Apple goes right back in the money, that 20 pennies. You know what? I'm just going to put a bid. If I can get some O2s or whatever, I just put a bid at O2. If that can flush down there, we'll take another one spot out. 17, 18 cents when this has been against us up here, Apple. Right off that VWAP drop. That was great, man. Our out is only 10 cents higher, man. So actually, I was going to use this as the out, actually, 60s. So there it is. So take another 2. So now we can sort of up our out there, just 10 cents higher, about this 64, 65 now for Apple. We've thought about the market coming to the downside. Glad this is working out for us. Just to quickly here, HUD 8. We let this one settle down. Again, we held the last 10% of this name. It should have got out at the high. We didn't. my bad on that one again. Obviously, when it double ticked down here, it just happened so fast. And then we were barcoding and then the show started. And it just hasn't been a big position, but you're taking out VWAP and you're taking out 10. So I think we like this play here for HUT. Whether or not you want to go long right now into the close, this is not a horrible spot either. I'm actually debating that, but we're going to drop out the rest of this. If it breaks back down through 10, maybe we get a swipe down and then we could bid this back up. But that's HUT 8 mining right now, starting to make a move back to the downside. So we're going to get out right now. If it cracks below 10, that's the facts right there on that name. And then Clover, okay, I'll hit this button, but it's not like, okay, I'm reloaded. I mean, we're reloaded, but this has just been dripping down. We're waiting for this to hit at 50. Looks like this is going to be, damn you, Clover, honestly. This one's going to be a loser for us if it ticks down to 50, and then we have to get out. Let's just double check to see if there's any size here as we scroll all the way down. Now, I don't really see any size protecting 50 right now anyways. So this is a big move to the upside. And again, we just started off really great here on Clover today. It was up at 1.89%. Now you're seeing it fading out. So not happy with CLOV, but I'm still holding out hope that within 10 minutes, as we've talked about it over and over on the show, you get the imbalances coming out. And Arun and I both trading, although Arun will look at the futures contracts, we're both trading equity, real shares. These are not CFDs. We're not option traders or anything like that. So we got to be flat at the end of every single day. So unless Clover has a move here, these are not swing trades or anything like that. But I do like Clover on a swing, especially if we get back down here to 440. I still think we could take out $5 and it shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah. And futures taking off to the downside here, and I'm looking. Yeah, finally we get going. I was. Well, it looks like I was hoping this would happen, but I was hoping this would happen a little bit, more faster. Instead of taking 20 minutes to go down 10 points, maybe do it in 5. That would have been nice. I'm still open to the idea of going short south of 4670. We'll see how this plays out though into the close. But for now, it does look like some profit taking is being done here, and markets are starting to get a little dicey. You can tell. It's happening though in the S&P though, not necessarily the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is still under control. It is up 2.65%, doing well. So for the time being, NASDAQ still maintaining some decent strength to the buy side, even though the markets are coming off a little bit here, but we still have a decent amount of space to the downside on the NASDAQ before we even consider the idea of a short, right? So we still got what? Another 40 points or so, I want to say, 40 to 60 points on the NASDAQ before we can even say, you know what, support's been taken. Maybe we can go for the short now on the NASDAQ side of things. S&P, we're about 1 or 2 points away from considering a short. I'm not sure yet. I am going to wait, see how more it trades, how much more it trades to the downside. If we get an acceleration, I might just go for the short. Otherwise, I'll just leave it alone. But for now, though, apart from the trades that I've got, which is none, because I've kind of dumped them. Going back to that whole AAL situation, again, it's a matter of strategy, and it's just a matter of following your rules, because you got to put some rules in, man. If you don't put any rules in, it's going to be hard to trade, because when things get hectic, you have nothing to rely on. Rules allow you to, strategies, whatever, kind of concrete ways of approaching it, hence why I might be a little robotic with my approaches, is because they kind of back you when you really need them. Because if you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants, it's kind of tough, because you're constantly going up and down emotionally, financially. It's just kind of all over the place. So I kind of set some rules in place, and I know that if we hit certain levels or certain points, I'm going to do certain things. And it just works for me. So we're going to go with that. I'm noticing in question, what was the thing?
What was happening?
No, I was just looking at. I thought there was a chart. They were talking about Clover, but
I've already talked about Clover, and that stock is really, just not doing a whole hell of a lot here with Clover fading back in. So HUT looks like it wants to bounce, and then just like Apple, man. I was waiting at 85, it got down to like 90, and I was like, what am I really waiting for 5 more cents? Are we really starting to turn around here? You could see we've sort of barcoded here a little bit with AAPL. Arun did a good job there talking about the S&P kind of leading this move downside. They're both kind of bouncing right now, both the S&P and NASDAQ. So our Apple trade, I just got to make sure that we have this out.
You take care of that Apple trade. I'll take care of the futures. I actually want to talk about the futures a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
So I noticed that people are saying, oh, futures are bouncing. Yeah, we're still inside some support. Again, we need to break 4670 on the S&P side of things for us to consider the sell side to accelerate, right? We are in support. This drawdown is expected. This drawdown will have some support attached to it. Now the question is it going to accelerate? If it accelerates, that's a different story. Then you can be like, oh, you know what? Maybe there's some shorts. Maybe there's some more selling into the end of the day. But for the time being, though, we're in a support base. Like I said with the NASDAQ futures, we've got about 40 to 60 points left on the downside, and still we're going to hit some support. And the same applies to the S&P. We've still got about 5 to 6 points to the downside before we lose any support that we have. So for the time being, regardless of the fact that it's coming down, there's still support to work with. So just be smart about, if you are trading futures late into the day, just be aware that futures close at 4:15.
Right.
Market as a whole, as a stock market, the North American equity market closes at 4 o'clock. So there's 15 minutes where the futures markets are open that the stock market is not. So just be smart about it, because you could actually take the futures contracts, hold them through the stock market close, and then dump them before the futures market closes 15 minutes later. So there's always that option as well. Just know your rules. Not just your rules. Know your market that you're trading. Right, know the times that it opens, times that it closes. What else is happening this week that we're going to talk about? I'll deal with it on Friday, actually. But we're doing a rollover this week. Contracts are expiring next week. So futures contracts are moving from the December contract to the March contract. That's happening. That rollover happens on Thursday night into Friday. So volume is going to be split between the two contracts, and I'll get more into it as I come in on Friday, because I will be here for Sean as well. He's going to be off on Friday. So we'll talk more about that on Friday, but just be aware. Those things you need to know. Know the market that you're trading when you decide to actually start stepping into something, because if you don't, you might just get blindsided by something that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, great. I mean, great talk there. And you got to obviously, understand what day is coming up. We do have the quad witching and huge rebalancing coming on the 17th. So 10 days from now, not this Friday, next. Airbnb, again, thanks for pointing this all out, guys. But we started shorting Apple, around here. And if we just would have went over to this name, this is 187, you're down to 183, so we'd have a bunch of wins on board right now. But we'll just keep on watching the futures here. Hopefully they start to tick down and we can make some nice wins for that. Hut just trying to come out. Is there any names you guys want to take? Yeah, we do take more vacations than the Queen of England. Do you know how many sick days I've had this year? This many. 0. And we just took vacation right now. And the reason why is we're forced to take it, or else we would not be taking vacation right now. Apparently something about mental health and wellness and all that stuff.
Well, in this environment, in this kind of market, you kind of do.
So, but whatever. I mean, honestly, I'm walking through the malls, taking videos of the stores and thinking what of these stocks would I buy? Anyways, that was fun. Hopefully you guys saw that on Twitter right now. Is Tesla splitting? No. Is Tesla splitting? I heard the same rumors about that as well. We saw what happened last time Tesla split. It was a monster catalyst to the upside when they announced the split, and then even after they split, it was still a catalyst to the upside, because then the stocks became cheaper. So Tesla's already gone, I think it was 8-1. It was at the same time as Apple. So I'll have to look back at what they're going to do. But I think if they split, what a huge advantage that's going to be to Tesla shareholders. We had a crazy, our charts can't show it, but we did have a crazy run up. And then if you do remember this morning, we did talk about buying Tesla if it came down to 10.20. That didn't happen today. It came to 10.27, 28, something like that. So definitely some opportunities there for Tesla sellers, I guess, to pick it up down here. Buyers down here at 10.25 for Tesla. Are they splitting? I don't know, but I do like Tesla again at these levels. And you see, there's been an epic run up here into the split right here. And again, we didn't. I guess I can check this. 500, so it's 5-1 on the Tesla split. As it goes all the way to 2,400 and then comes back down to 4 there. Boom to the downside, and then look at that. It splits, makes some moves down, and then just takes right back off and doubles up again from its split price. It split down to 450, guys. It's at 12. Was at 1,200. So I mean, you've almost tripled up from their split price, let alone, the action that happened before then. We're realistically at 2,300, right? Split down, so you're still at a nice little level there coming back in. So that is that name. That's Tesla. Rivian we can look at that again. Let's check out Lucid just to see what that's doing quickly. So at 43.40. And again, some levels that we talked about coming into play here, you don't want to hit them right now. Although there it came again, and you would have hit it again. But this is at the end of the day. So like Arun was mentioning over and over again, you're going to get some pressure here coming from the end of day imbalances. So unless those get huge right now, probably Lucid just going to cruise around here. Watch out for a break if Lucid comes as a sell. 43, you have to have your stop order in there at 4.3. What's up, Rendo?
You'll end up with, hi. Valeria and I were just discussing stock splits. SIMO here, guys, big volume spike there through day highs. Comes right back though, 87 trying to hold as support, but a nice pop there for SIMO. Huge move on the day as well for that one.
SIMO. Okay, what you see is what you mow on that one. Beyond Meat, I know Brad was talking bad about that. Beyond Meat up to $71 again today. The one thing I have to talk to Brad about is that he often is very interested in sort of, you know, what's behind a stock, when sometimes that just doesn't matter, right? Your own personal opinion, obviously, on what Beyond Meat is as far as tasting wise doesn't really matter. It does if you're going to hold it for a longer term, but for a quick trade, man, Beyond Meat continues to possibly be, oh, come on, just a little bit beat down here. You're just a few upgrades away, man, from this thing going back to 100, I feel like. So whether or not whatever you think about Beyond Meat, try not to cloud your judgment too much, as there is some downside here for Beyond Meat. Continuing down to 60, who knows? I like this trade going higher now as more news coming through. Only 20 seconds right now left on this trade. So we'll wait to see here as imbalance is going to get ready to come through now. And we're just going to see where they go. So coming out very, very soon in just under 10 seconds. Let me find it for you. Here are the imbalances. So we'll see where we go. But coming out in just a couple seconds. And there it is, a nice little downside move here for the futures, making moves downside. We'll see. Let's adjust this by the size. Oopsies, there it is. 3.92 right now with a million on ET. Cisco with a sell. I hear my man clapping over there. So Pratt either just had one of the best super chickens of his life, or
he definitely will.
He just made a nice little trade there as it's making a move to the downside. There we go. Uber with a sell. We could check out. Let's check out what our Apple is doing. Wow, Apple, slow down. 5 cents in the money. Man, you really took off down to the downside there. But so far, so good here, Arun.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. No, I was just keeping an eye on the amounts here. It looks like 3.9 million shares to this buy side on ET. Okay, futures decides to fall off. Now we can start looking for shorts here. Okay, it's starting to accelerate. Imbalances probably came out to the sell side. Although,
man,
Brad's over there saying, "Oh yeah,
man. That
okay,
super chicken was
that's super
tasty, boy."
Yeah, that super chicken must have been real good because futures are falling off, and Brad's saying, "Oh yeah." Okay, so here we are. What do we have that I got to really worry about? ET, what is the volume on ET?
No, Energy Transfers, that's a crappy stock. That's just like a little no-name dollar stock.
Yeah, it's 4 million shares. Done 16 million shares on the day, though. That's something.
$8.
It's $8. Can you get much?
Hard pass.
The kind of pressure you're going to get, probably not that much. But in terms of just absolute movement, this is what, again, we talked about this, right? When futures start to, at some point, there's bound to be some profit taking. When that happens, though, you're going to get this kind of a snap move. And I was hoping it would happen earlier. And I keep saying this over and over again because it's kind of like a textbook situation where when a market has gone up strong and they have not been able to come back a little bit, then all you can really do, for anyone who's short-term trading this, has done really well throughout the day by going long, they got to take some profit, right? Not everyone's going to hold throughout the night. So at the end of the day, if we can't draw back, then odds are we're probably going to keep going. But more likely than not, you will get a pullback. And when this starts happening, it happened around just after 3 o'clock. When you start getting that pullback, you got to be wary of the fact that this thing could accelerate. Now, the one name that I had that actually accelerated well past was that AAL. That was that one long where you could tell that it was starting to get going past 18. Move out of the way. This is the kind of situation you want to avoid if you're long. Just be aware then the final, I like to say in the final hour and a half, pretty much from 2:30 onwards, there's usually a situation or a point where if the market hasn't pulled back its big move or come back from its big move, it's bound to do it at some point before the close. And in that rare event, will you ever just get that move to continue? Like whether it's a long or a short, more often than not, there usually will be a pullback against or a counter trend move at the slightest, even in the slightest degree, against the big move here. But hey, this sets up some levels for tomorrow. What can we work with? We still have now 4,700 on the futures. Let me pull this back out. We've got 4,700. Let me change the chart out a little bit here. 4,700. Let's put the 15-minute chart here. 4690, but I mean, the high for the day is like 4642 and change. So I'm going to even just say straight up 4,700 is going to be the top end level. What do we have down below? Remember, we have 4635 from earlier today. So any longs, they could easily set up south of 4660 as well. So that's an option on the table. 4635, pretty much all the way from 4660, that's a long potential. And then if you were to get north of 4,700, that could open up a brand new level based on the way we're trading right now. So you are going to get some movement. This is a good thing. This is not like, in a healthy market, you're going to need these pullbacks for the market to actually continue for its next leg. So this is definitely one of those things that you want. For anyone who was wondering what ET is doing with this buy side imbalance, it's doing absolutely nothing. Actually, I don't even care about ET. What is this OWL? Owl. The reason I bring up OWL is because the imbalance is 1.5 million shares, but it's already paired almost 12 million shares on the imbalance. So at some point, there was about 13.5 million shares, of which 12 million has already found a seller. So there's about 1.5 million, 4 or 5 million left on the table that needs to be bought. So keep an eye on that. There could be a decent amount of movement here on OWL, given the amount of paired value that I'm seeing here. That's unusually large for a stock that's done nearly 40 million shares on the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a buyout or there's something going on with OWL. So we'll definitely have a look at that one as it goes. Look, Apple just, we got out of it. I mean, we were able to take some profits there. We didn't really take anything on that number. It didn't go down. So there it is, out on Apple. Not a huge hit for us today, but still not great. There's the refresh at 355. So now your OWL is completely gone. So we'll just refresh that.
It's gone?
Well, I don't know if it is or not, but not affecting the stock there.
No.
AT&T WFC switches over to a sell. It might have always been a sell, but now it's on there, got our attention. Alibaba, I mean, still on there as well, possibly to the downside there for Alibaba. Zoom, BKR, I don't know. I mean, I'm not seeing a whole hell of a lot there. Did I say Zoom? I meant XOM there. And I don't see Zoom on here. I don't really see anything that you guys may be interested in, but there's XOM still falling to the downside as well. As the futures, I don't know, move down, touch VWAP. This is that level that we talked about, so I'm pretty happy that we went down to there. Unfortunately, we picked the wrong stock and Apple doesn't follow. SoFi just kind of doing nothing here today, trying to move, but what's up, Brandon?
So guys, let's get you some earnings for aftermarket tonight and coming up before the open tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, ChargePoint, CHPT, we talked about that. It's good that they had a little bit of a rally back today for CHPT. Other than that, man, I mean, I'm just looking here. I don't really see a whole hell of a lot there. Campbell's, I mean, Stitch Fix has been a big mover. Dave & Buster's, I mean, we'll just have a look at all these. None of them are really huge for me, man. I mean, Toll Brothers, you got in the housing. I don't know. I don't really see too much there.
I mean, I just like the name PagerDuty, given that people call my phone a pager. Why? I don't really know, but it's an interesting name. That's something to look at, I guess. I'll look at it just because the name is interesting. Futures, nice little bounce. Okay, looks like longs are back on board after getting through 70. Here we are at 83. We're not too far away from highs. We're about 10 points from the high. It looks like any selling that was done, that needed to be done, has been done. And here we are, strong move on the futures back to the upside. This is a good thing. This is what I was talking about. Futures needs to get that selling done so we can actually take the next leg to the upside. So just because the markets are going down does not mean that it's over or it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's part of a properly functioning market, and you're seeing this in the futures. Pretty much we were down, and then I think at 355 we got an update with the imbalances showing that maybe there's some more buying that needs to be done, and the futures responds correspondingly. It moves straight back up. Here we are 15 points from that low. Actually, not even 15, it's like 16, 17 points from that low of 66 and change. Here we are at 83.5, and it's sitting just under 10 points from the high.
Yeah, gorgeous day for the bouncing back of the futures there. What a great ending to the show here. As a nice, I hate when we're never going to close on the lows down here today, but I don't like when we close like this, then we start to close like somewhere around here. So it's been a nice bump up here. We'll see if we can hold. We won't be up 3% tomorrow on the NASDAQ, but this is a good sign that we should be able to continue it forward because the big dogs are leading the way, man. I mean, Facebook, you're not going to bring the market down if you can't take down Facebook or Microsoft or Apple or Amazon or any of these names. So Facebook up 1.32% today. Softy, something very, very similar as well. Wow, back to 334. Did I see Softy down here the other day? Did I see like a 318 or something come through on? Yes, I did. I cannot believe some of those levels. Like, you're talking about gift horses, man. Like, you can get Microsoft back down here anywhere ever at the 50-period moving average legitimately, then you got to buy that thing as that's still going to the upside. And Apple right now taking out, man, 171, new high of the day, hit the sire now as Apple looks like it wants to just keep going. Yeah. Will it take out 171.50? Who knows? There's some beautiful size there. 171, Apple taking off completely. It's not the high of the day, but you know, it's getting close enough. Great movement there for Apple to go. Our HUT came out as well, so it gets out at 10. We weren't willing to hold that anyways. And then SoFi, nice move, battled back. We would have taken that right down here. Again, pick some key levels, just like down here on SoFi, 1620, right? We bought and picked 1620, but into here again, 1630, and then tomorrow, 1640. So these are all levels that we got to just keep writing down, keep them in our head, and go forward because, you know, SoFi, a good long. I still think there's more longs tomorrow, man. Square's up 5%, Twilio's up 5%, some of the weed names up. NVIDIA, wow, I bought that yesterday, 291 NVIDIA. Like, I mean, you're at the high of the day on this one, 323. Just keep on buying it. Yeah, well, I see you in the background, Randy, spinning that thing. You know what's going to be hilarious when that mallet hits him in the head one day. There, oh, it just did. Oh, too bad, Randy. Yeah, there it goes. Trader TV Randy getting ready to ring the register here for us, and we'll hit the countdown right now with only 10 seconds to go. Pretty exciting day. I think we had a great little end to the day, a nice battle back. Thank you to Miss V today for all she's done, and Brad as well. 3, 2, and 1, and there we have it. The market is closed, and I just remembered that I'm still in SoFi, so I have to get out of this position right here as it rips up nicely at the end of the day, and there it is. We get a 62 fill on SoFi to end, so good little run here at the end of the day. I'm glad that you guys joined us. It was fun looking at some of those names. Over to Brendo. How did the day finish?
Yeah, big bounce there at the end of the day, guys. Took us almost back to day highs here. Here we go, 2% and change for the S&P overall, 1.2 for the Dow. Almost got to 3% for the NASDAQ. TSX here in Toronto, 1.3%, 2.8 for crude oil. Yeah, pretty flat day for cryptos, guys.
Yeah, it was, although BTC right now testing 50 again. I don't like to see that, that's for sure. Shout out to my main man, Prad. It sounded like he made a little bit of money there at the end of the day, so thank you, Prad, and I hope that super chicken was good. He gone, so maybe he didn't make that much money. He gone, Prad, but I do want to give always a thank you to, I believe the hardest working person here, besides Brendan. Miss V, what's up, Miss V? Thank you so much for joining us one more time today and bringing the good to us as well. That was fun. And then Rob was like a little dancing chicken there at some points today. That was really fun, like a chicken with his head cut off is what I mean. There he is right there. I like those moves. There, the chicken dance, that's what that is right there. And big thank you to Lucas as well. Look, Arun, it's always a pleasure. We're going to miss you now. You've been filling in for a few days. You will be back on Friday as it's going to be an interesting December for all of us, including yourself, as we keep rotating through hosts. Yep. I hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for
many people.
Yeah, I'll be back on Friday, guys. Till then.
Yeah, until then, guys, big shout out. Oh, we got the 4-box going on.
Ooh, that's
what?
new.
Things have changed. I like this one. Good move there for all of us. Trader TV Live, Brendan, Valeria, Arun, and myself. Join us tomorrow at 8:30. Have a great evening. See you guys.